It is our honor to introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. Melvin Lim, co-founder and CEO of PropertyLimBrothers. Many of you may recognize Melvin as the familiar face behind our signature PLB home tour videos, as well as the driving force behind our Nuggets on the Go podcast series. If you're not sure what is that, you should look it up on YouTube. And for those who have joined us in our PLB webinars, you may be familiar with the strategic mindset and deep understanding of the real estate landscape that make Melvin's sharing a valuable resource for both seasoned investors and those just entering into the market.
Indeed, with a profound passion for real estate and an unwavering dedication to data and research, Melvin's extensive knowledge and expertise have guided countless clients and colleagues through the complexities of the property market. Today, we have the privilege of benefiting from Melvin's vast experience as he shares his perspective on the ever-evolving real estate industry. Please join us in warmly welcoming Melvin Lim, co-founder and CEO of PropertyLimBrothers, to the stage.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon everybody. So I hope that you guys had a wonderful lunch outside, as well as good wines. Please help us out continuously towards coffee and drinks. And thank you for coming once again for our first ever London convention. It's so good to see you guys. And of course, just like I chatted with a lot of our clients, our audience, and it's good to see you in person as well. So just like I was just outside, one of our clients were asking me like, hey Melvin, do you want to consider acting or not? I was like, oh, was this some time for me? Yeah, I cannot do acting anymore because I mean this is my passion. It's also our team's passion, and today we are here to talk about landed property. And of course, if you've been with PLB content for the past years, or maybe if this is the first time seeing some of our home tours and content, you know that we represent a vast variety of properties. And of course, we want to take an approach firstly from a research and analysis standpoint. There's also anchored on the individual's life stage, your current journey in your property portfolio. And most important is that everybody has different seasons. Maybe this season you are in the stage that you're upgrading towards a condominium, but maybe in 5 years' time you might be in another season that you can go into a landed home. But I believe all of you here today are very keen to maybe look at some of the key things that are happening in the property market right now. And for my segment, I'm going to talk about purely the landed trend for the next 6 to 12 months in my perspective, as well as my research team's perspective. Of course, once again, just want to introduce myself. I'm the co-founder and CEO of PLB Group. Our team is made up of 118 fabulous teammates. They are in the media team as well as in the realty team. I myself has been in the market for 16 years. Before my 16-year real estate journey, I was a payment officer together with my co-founder Adrian Lim for 3 years. And of course, last 6 years, we set up PLB Media. Last year, we set up PLB Realty. So we have a very young team here today. And of course, maybe give all of them a round of applause for organizing this event. And we are very happy to have you here. So this news actually came out before the cooling measures, the latest round of ABSD on the 27th April. And of course, this was a couple of articles talking about landed homes becoming a wealth preservation asset, and it's becoming a good store of value. And it's getting so strong that there's so much attention on landed properties. And of course, this came in just about 2 weeks back. And maybe some of you might be wondering, is this going to create an impact, firstly, to the overall property market? Secondly, is it going to cause a dent or maybe a limited portion in terms of demand for the landed market as well? In fact, cooling measures are not new to all of us because this is already the 15th round of cooling measure. We already have close to 15th round. And of course, by the way, the entire stack of slides will be available for all our convention participants and audience here. Later, you just need to approach one of our PLB consultants. They will have this slides deck ready to transfer to you over WhatsApp. All right, so maybe let me just bring us through the first very impactful round, which is over here, and that was in 2009. 2009 was just right after Lehman Brothers that happened in 08 October. There was a dip in terms of the overall price index for three types of properties: landed properties, condos, as well as the HDB price index. Immediately after that, our policymakers stepped in very rapidly, and they have been very, of course, concerned about the demand and supply level in terms of our property market. So as you can see, we have the first major round here all the way until today. We're about 15 rounds of cooling measures. In short, we are quite stuck already in the sense that it will not be wise for our policymakers to remove any form of cooling measures immediately, because the moment that we remove any form of cooling measures, demand is going to flood back in, because now Singapore is already of a different status. We are considered a safe haven in the eyes of global investors. So when we look at the latest round of the doubling effect of ABSD, the main punch point is to, of course, know that firstly, how many percent of condos and apartments are being purchased by foreigners. And of course, when we look at this, we realize that in totality, over the last years, they average at about 4 to 6% of the overall transaction volume that were being purchased by foreign investors. So majority of the properties in the condo and apartment segment are still purchased by Singaporeans and PR. Now, why is that important? And why does it relate to the landed market? It's because when we look at this data, we firstly know that when we dissect this 5%, our research team found that, and we shared this in our latest webinar, the past 1 year, a lot of the foreign investors has been buying into OCR resale and OCR new launches. And that, of course, spurred the effect of our policymakers wanting to double up the ABSD from 30 to 60%. And because of this, actually, we think that the trending towards the landed market is that based on this ABSD and knowing what foreign investors usually love to buy, especially in the CCR segment, although some foreign investors with maybe a lower budget range of 2 to 4 million, they might go into RCR or OCR segment. But based on this, what might happen is that the local buyers might start to put more attention on properties that Singaporeans love to accumulate. And of course, landed property will be one of the core asset class. And let's have a look at the landed performance for the past maybe 5 quarters. And for the purpose of this convention, we've tabulated some of the latest research, and we would love to share them with you. So over the past 3 years, of course, when we look at the performance of landed vis-a-vis non-landed, they have similarly went up by about 20 over to 30%. This is in tabulation of the entire residential property price index. However, something to note is this. Actually, last time, do you remember we have that 5 C's era? So a lot of the notion in the past was that you have 5 C's: condos, car, country club. Actually, during that season, it was before the 2009 season, because back then, actually, when you own a condo, it seems that it's slightly more prestigious than owning a landed home. Because when we got started in real estate, I still remember 06, 07, when I compare in the same enclave, inter-terrace can be just about the same price as a 4-bedder condominium. That was the days back then. And I think because of the 09 season, there was this shift in terms of behavior and preferences by local buyers, in the sense that the chasm gap has started to form, and it has not touched for the past 13 years, meaning that the landed price index as well as the condo index, they are not touching each other anymore. This could be because of the fact of ABSD starting in from 09 and all the way until today. We have 5 rounds of ABSD, and thus Singaporeans know that in terms of preference of store of value and wealth preservation, it seems that landed might be sort of like a more superior class or a harder asset in terms of preservation and appreciation. So we've tabulated some charts for your reference. Basically, from 1-2 to today, there's a totality in terms of growth of landed property of 62.4%. And of course, for the the average past 3 years from 2020 until 2023 is averagely about 40%. And of course, in terms of volume-wise, transaction volume for this year is based on Q1 results. If you multiply it by a factor of 4, it should equate back to 2022. Even though 2022 was what we deem as a year of black swan event, because there were a lot of stuff that happened, stock market corrections and stuff like that. But in terms of transaction volume, it still remains strong based on Q1 result. And we're on pace to about 1,600 units. Now, something to take note was that 2021 was a superior year after recovery from the pandemic. And a lot of buyers actually ran into the landed segment. And back then in this season, if you notice, the amount of terrace properties as well as semi-D that were being accumulated back then was quite a doubling amount. Now, if we look at the split up from terrace, detached and semi-D, of course, terrace homes gained the most pace. They rose by about 48.5%. And of course, second will be detached as well as semi-D, about 24.5%. So later, I'm going to summarize what does all this mean in terms of projection for 6 to 12 months' time. And of course, if you're hunting for a landed home, or if this is your first time deciding whether should I go for different types of properties or should I consider landed properties, what kind of decision metrics should I make? Now, further on, we also tabulated all the average PSF level in terms of price growth from 13 to 2023, and we have compiled based on 999 freehold as well as 99 years properties. Now, for 99 years, just a quick segment here is that now we are in the season of a low pricing. So based on our research, landed homes tend to move in a 5 years era. It's like in every 5 years, there's going to be a jump in either the terrace housing or the semi-D price movement. We call this a disparity effect. And right now, 99's landed might have an opportunity in terms of a window because of the fact of a new PSF level that's happening for condos and apartments. So for example, if a huge family that's looking for like a 4-bedder, but they're contemplating that, I cannot stretch to 4 million to own inter-terrace as freehold, but maybe I can only go for about $3 million, and they're contemplating between a 99 years penthouse as 4-bedder, costing about $3 million to enter into the market. Then this segment, based on our disparity effect measurement, we think that it will start to move in the next 6 to 12 months because this now forms a new product category for the buyers with a budget of about $3 to $3.5 million. So once this is being completed, then of course the disparity effect will move on to the next tier, which is the freehold inter-terrace segment again. Now, later I'll elaborate that together at the end of this segment. Now, what we've done also is that we have tabulated in the slides deck for everybody the 10 most affordable districts based on a PSF level. So this is going to help you to explore and shop around if you're hunting for a landed home in the next 6 months. We have tabulated them on district level from low to high. And these are the 10 most affordable districts right now in the last 5 quarters. And of course, for 99 years leasehold as well, the 10 most affordable district. We have also tabulated in terms of total transaction value as well. This has got to do with popularity because sometimes we advise our landed buyers in the sense that when you hunt for a landed home, it's important to forward project a little bit. In 5 or 8 years time, or maybe you just want to hold this for 3 years, or maybe you want to hold for a longer period of 10 to 15 years, it's still important to note that there might be a chance that you might wish to have the flexibility to exit. Because sometimes if you buy into an enclave or maybe a district with a lower transaction volume, transactions equates to popularity. And if the popularity factor is low, it's not saying that the property is no good, it's just that you might take a longer time to exit, and that longer time is an opportunity cost to find your next home. So sometimes when you want to exit and go for a next purchase that you have fallen in love with, or if you have analyzed the numbers, is correct, but you're stuck in your current home. So it's important to forward project a little bit. Now, what are some of the key anchors of the landed market? And of course, is the landed market dangerous? is it worth to still explore because you saw the price growth for the past 10 years and the last 3 years has been tremendous? Is it too high price or too high PSF at this point in time? Now let's have a quick look. So based on our 16 years experience, of course, in the last couple of years, we went into very deep research into different types of residential properties as well as commercial properties. We find that when we look at residential transactions, which is the bulk of property transactions in Singapore, these are the three main things that a lot of landed investors are eyeing for. And that's the reason why they're accumulating these assets. And we also note that once a buyer or a family enters into the landed market, sometimes they don't sell. They sometimes extract equity. They sometimes pass on as a legacy. And that makes actually the roving stock very limited. Which is why sometimes you want to find like a home to tear out and rebuild. You find that it's extremely difficult, or maybe the listings just disappears after 3 to 4 weeks time. So one thing to note is that the elasticity factor is very low. So let's have a look at this. So we always share with our clients to forward project in 7 years time. What can people buy? Because in 7 years time, this is quite almost certain to happen. And this was a white paper released in 2013. 6.9 million in terms of population, and of course this is going to be the average breakdown. We're going to have about 55% Singaporeans, 45% PR and foreign residents in Singapore. And of course this will happen over the next 7 years. We're already on track right now. We're at about 5.9 plus million in terms of population. What has this got to do with the type of asset class that we're holding in today's market? So we like to reference, of course, to demand and supply factor as just a understanding of the macro factors so that we can then make good decisions at a micro level. So when we look at elasticity, easier explanation is that when you own an asset, once you own an asset and you realize that tomorrow when you flip the papers, the price of the asset increase, the first thing to observe is that will there be more supply that is being introduced to bring down the price of the asset? Or when you own a hard asset means that it is more premium, it is harder to disrupt, it is stronger in the sense that when you own this asset, when the price increase, will there be introduction of new supply to bring down the pricing? So we call this inelasticity or elasticity in terms of supply and price relationship. So in summary, landed homes, they fall into this category that is, I would say, pretty inelastic, because even though price increase, there's no way that the supply can be increased. And this has been the landed stock since 1995. All the way until today, we are still hovering at about 73,000. We're pretty much stuck at this level. There's no more GRS land that is introduced as brand new landed homes. All the land plots are meant for high rise because we are land scarce. And of course, the landed stock has plateaued since 2018 until today, which is about 5 years already. We're still stuck at 73,000. So even though you see an increase in price index, but there's no introduction of supply as well. We further help everybody to dig down that predominantly Singaporeans are still the main 95% owning landed homes, which is a good thing in the sense that policymakers are anchoring this to be a very strong product category for Singaporeans, aspiring property owners. And this is basically the summary in terms of the 2030 kind of vision, in the sense that when you own an asset today, you want to visualize 7 years' time. When you look at all the types of properties in Singapore, with HDB at about 1.2 million, condos at about 350,000 now, landed is stuck at 73,000, and of course GCBs we have 2,008, shop houses 6,009, and of course Sentosa Cove landed is about 350. And of course, if you want to buy something on the mainland, residential properties, this definitely falls in the segment with the lowest supply that is stuck, and of course with one of the highest demand level right here. So to illustrate this on the one last point before we move on to the next segment is that elasticity is a very real thing, meaning that whenever, let's say this category, you start to see headlines of properties rising rapidly, you start to see headlines of pricing rising rapidly because foreign investors are buying rapidly. You start to see policies coming in to disrupt the market. So this is an example, because the moment price rise, if it's too elastic, policies will rush in to curb the market. So when we talk about landed property, they fall into a segment that the supply is more or less stuck in a sense. So when you park your capital in an asset that's harder in fashion, you're going to enjoy the price gain over time. Now, moving on to the next segment. This is basically just something that we always help our landed buyers to see through in terms of the micro point of view. Something to note is that when you invest in a landed home, definitely they fall into the Q1 category, meaning that they get to enjoy high growth, but the rental yield tend to be lower. Of course, now rental rates have picked up over the last year, but it will start to taper off towards the end of this year. But take note that landed properties are meant for high growth. It's not really a rental or dividend kind of product. So Q1 category, and of course the last segment is that for today's convention in appreciation, last week our research team has spent about 5 nights to go through some of the current stock that is available in the market. This will help you with your landed home shopping in different districts. So we have tabulated some of the very popular districts, and we have also categorized the current inventory level on the popular portal, Property Guru, and of course some of the other portals, and we have sifted out all the listings in terms of the amount of supply and the median pricing for asking prices. Now, if this is your first time looking at our content, we like to categorize homes into 4 categories. Cat 1 are usually homes if you want to purchase to rebuild on your own. Cat 2 are usually homes that are about 20 odd years old. You can do A and A. Cat 3 is that you just want to do renovation for the next 6 months. And of course, Cat 4 is that you purchase directly from developers. Every category has their own plus and minuses. Cat 4 homes are naturally more premium because the developer takes the risk of the 2 years of construction, their cost, expertise, and resource. And of course, with that, in exchange for the 24 months that they have invested, definitely they have to sell at a slightly more premium level. So of course, Cat 1 home, sometimes when you compare, this is in the exchange of time and expertise. So there's always a balancing act involved. And you have to make a decision based on your current overall investment quantum level to decide which category suits you in a particular district. So I'm going to use this disparity effect that we have always been using to analyze pricing for our clients. And basically the 4 categories, in terms of its definition, we have placed it over here in the slides as well. And we have tabulated about 9 different enclaves. So firstly, of course, when we look at D10, Bukit Timah, in terms of the median asking prices, so basically you're going to see 2 numbers when you receive the deck. Firstly, you're going to see the categories, Cat 1, 2, 3, 4. You're also going to see terrace, semi-D, and detached. And you're going to see how many listings are currently in the market, as well as the median asking price. Now, this is going to help you to make a decision. For example, if you're a District 10 lover and you have a certain quantum range that you want to enter, then you can just do a quick reference when you're shopping around, going out to view landed homes. You can then see which category is too close to one another and which category is worth going for. Let me give you an example. So for example, if let's say you are planning to rebuild your own semi-D, but all the 34 listings in D10, they are all asking at about $9 million. And after you have consulted your architect or your builder, they say that, hey, if you're going to rebuild a semi-D, it's going to take 24 months to maybe 28 months. You're going to rent for 2 years. And with that, total rebuild cost is about $2.5 million. And $2.5 million, if you add this in plus your buyer stamp duty and some of the costing as well, and that's going to bring you to about close to 12 million or maybe 11.8 million. Then you project that towards the last category. And take note that whenever you look at Cat 4, you need to divide the amount of listings by 2. Because sometimes the developers, they have different partners that they are working with. There might be duplicated listings in the market, right? So when you look at that, 9.2 plus 2.5 million, that's going to bring it to about 11.8. And if I can get something at 11, is that 2 years worth my effort? So this is usually how we look at that price point, all right? So we also tabulated the Mayor area. We tabulated Siglap as well for you in terms of terrace housing. And we also tabulated the Katong region as well. As you can see later, as I move on to the end of the segment, we also realize that the amount of Category 4 brand new homes are depleting. One of the reasons is because when we speak with some of our regular developer partners, they say that, you know, in the last 12 months, they're not really accumulating land. The reason is because it's not easy to find a Cat 1 home that makes sense in the eyes of a developer. Why? Because a lot of Cat 1 owners have raised their pricing over the past 12 months. So when they add that pricing in, this business sort of doesn't make sense for them. So they're not really accumulating a lot of new land. A lot of the existing stock are the older plots that they have built in the past. So Cat 4 homes have sort of depleted in terms of quantity. We also tabulated D20 for you guys if you love the Thompson area. And of course, D19 Surrounding Gardens, D19 Clover region. And something to also note is that even for Cat 1 homes are also depleting. Because Cat 1 homes, when let's say a lender owner has in this for 20, 25 years, sometimes they will think that, you know, after I sell, what can I buy? And with that amount, maybe I should raise my price, and maybe I shouldn't sell at all. So to note whether ABSD disrupts the lender market, I would say that it's very tough. Because lender owners, firstly, a lot of them has bought into lender homes at the older price, which is a lower price. They're sitting on a lot of profit margin. There's no urgency to sell. Secondly, people that own landed properties, they tend to own it for a long time, either for legacy, or maybe they are in the rebuilding business. So the circulating stock, I would say that is very limited. So we also tabulated D21 for everybody, as well as D28, which is also similarly quite popular. So take note, you can get the entire stack of slides from our PLB consultants. Just need to approach any one of them. They'll be happy to WhatsApp you the entire slides deck. All right. So, lastly, before I move on to the final segment, basically the unsold supply of landed homes is also at an all-time low now. And the final segment, basically, just want to share a little bit about our thought process when we work with our landed buyers on how our consult team, our lender specialists, they do their work on a daily basis. So basically, we have this key thought process and mindset. And we want to make sure that every lender buyer that we work with, there's this thought process that's thought through, which is to invest in a lender that gives you the ease of exit. So we want to make sure that even if you want to rebuild, based on our advice, sometimes we share at least how many bedrooms do you need, at least your car porch must allow how many cars, because every day when our guys do the inquiries and viewings on the ground, we get to hear the amount of feedbacks as well as what is demanded in the market right now from the landed buyer. So it's very important to future-proof your home. And of course, we also want to emphasize that because landed property is a high quantum asset, you need to make sure that when you structure or rebuild a home or when you buy certain products, you need to know that if you can craft it correctly, your future exit speed will be much faster. And as you move up the quantum tier, as you go to 10, 15 million dollars, take note that your next buyer also have very, very specific requirements. So it's also very important to future-proof the elements within your home. Now, just a quick example. This is in an existing OCR district. So usually how we take note of disparity effect on the time factor is this. If let's say you're shopping on the ground, or maybe you're hunting through listings, or you're looking for consultants, and this is what they do on a daily basis, is that we will tabulate, let's say for example, if you want to buy a landed in this enclave, and you're after a semi-D, for example, or maybe after an inter-terrace, we take note of the pricing in the last 12 to 24 months, and then we project based on today's asking pricing, and we see how much was the percentage increment in terms of different categories. So for example, in this particular scenario, it might make more sense to go for the Cat 4 home because technically the appreciated quantum was only 16% versus the original amount. Compared to a Cat 1 home is already appreciated by 25% and you still have the pump or rebuild cost. So usually this is how we categorize them in terms of pricing elements. So in 2023, we think that just one of the opportunity might fall also in Cat 4 homes, because a lot of the existing stock that developers are selling belongs to the older version that they've accumulated in the past, and the amount of inventory is also dipping. So unless you have an aspiration to rebuild a home, which is fantastic, and you can find a good plot in the category 1 or category 2 segment, then of course that will be fantastic for you as well. So a quick sharing on usually how we do analysis work for our buyers is that we break down in terms of price quantum, asking price based on the current listings available. We hunt for them. We project based on the rebuild costs, take into consideration of other costing, and then we make an assessment to recommend what we think is recommended for this particular family. So in terms of our sellers, of course, it's very important as well. So as you can see, we have a couple of our PLB exclusive listings at our PLB booth. You can have a chat with our lender consultants as well. And maybe here, just to share a quick video, this was just completed last year, of some of the things that we have been innovating in the past 12 months.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Create glass panel sliding doors. Oh my goodness, look at that.
What are you talking about?
There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running up the river, but they all never come from the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place.
All right, thank you. Well, let's give our media team a round of applause for coming out with this fabulous video. So what has happened was that in the last 12 months, we have innovated a lot into this thing called 3D architecture visualization. Basically, our aspiration is always that we want to save everybody's time. We want to save buyers' time, we want to save sellers' time. Because sometimes when we don't market a place to showcase the content in a transparent manner, and to showcase the content in the fullest manner, a lot of people waste time. And let me just share with you some quick examples later, is that sometimes a property can have a lot of viewings, but maybe there's just no offers. Sometimes it could be because of the fact that there's no content to qualify and let the buyer know the full actuality of this home and whether is this home suitable for them. So basically the content that we always want to create and ideate on a daily basis is to let all the landed buyers have the comfort that within your phone at home, you can really see if this home is suitable for you before you invest your time down physically. And of course, over the past years, we realized that this has helped sellers tremendously because firstly, the buying and viewing experience becomes more genuine. Buyers come knowing exactly what facing is this, what I'm in for, and everything becomes in a much more genuine fashion. So for our home sellers, we always want to do up a full home landed report for each landed property. Now the reason is because buyers today, they also are very savvy. They want to save time. They want to know that the moment they purchase the home, and of course this in conjunction with our partners at ZLC, we showcase in full what you can potentially do up this home to be. So we showcase different options, the exact costing, the time duration, if you want to retain and just renovate, if you want to demolish, if you want to convert into a detached, what does it include? What do you need to take note in terms of costing? And this transparency approach has worked so well for all our clients. It saves everybody's time. The selling experience becomes better and faster. The buying experience becomes less hazardous as well. And of course, we also got our architect partners to draw out potential floor plans, and every lender home report is given to the eventual buyer that purchased a home from PLB. We also use this journey maker approach to help our home buyers to analyze which season they are in, and then compare the different lender homes using our mood analysis. Last but not least, these are basically some of our clients that have been with us.
Really secure, and I told him, let's see.
Yeah, you did it, right? So,
He did, yeah.
You have to have the target, and then you have to have the right messaging. Then you would have to boost depending on the feedback on who you're attracting. Narrow it down. And I think you guys know that.
Your branding is there already. Like what we wanted is actually the viewing traffic.
I think the newspaper, you cannot really get full information. Your social media presentation, really, I think it works.
on top of the professionalism and track record, there was also branding that y'all had as well. So to us, it was a no-brainer to go with y'all.
It was properly layered in terms of different people handling the process throughout.
Very detailed marketing plan. It suggests the target audience, outline the approach, explain the pricing. So in terms of the inquiry, very responsive.
And it really brings a clearer perspective with a more objective role of who this house is for and what this house is for.
It's very compelling, and getting the buyer's attention, want to view the place in the first place.
We have already general idea of how the place is like.
This pinpoint precision on your marketing efforts, I think this is really great because it
cuts down time.
And being able to find through geotagging, the other techniques you guys use, to be able to do that on an interest basis. I think that's very, very important. Just as important was just the ability to get rapid response, more of an active selling process. And I think that's what firms like yours are able to do.
Doesn't mean that it was also shorter process with you guys, but I think it was just more focused, sharper in that sense.
Alright, and last but not least, a lot of you are also wondering how our consultants work. And we work in a team fashion. We wanted to ensure that the whole experience of buying and selling is not done with like a one-man show kind of experience. So the entire team actually came out of this assembly system in the sense that we work as a team to serve our clients. So sometimes when you're on board with us, you realize that there's a couple of people in the chat group, but fret not, basically because we work as a team so closely. And also, in terms of our media speed, we are very happy to achieve this over the last 2 years, as well as this as well. And do take note that if you're signed for our early bird, we will send out a link to you to register for the free 45 minutes landed consultation with our team. This is going to be held in our office. We want to welcome you to our office for a free coffee session. And this is our PLB Consults team. Last but not least, I want to thank you for coming for this event. There's still going to be a lot more segments later. One of our clients are going to share, our sellers are going to share, and of course there's going to be a developer sharing segment also. So please continue to chat with our landed developers, partners, and our consultants. Enjoy yourself for the drinks as well. So we hope to see you soon. Thank you. Take care.